Facing the rising sun, a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
So there is another verse that speaks of stony the road we trod, bitter the chastised rod, born of the days when hope.
Good morning. My name is Mildred Tucker.
Use the mic, so our mic's not on. She doesn't have it up. Hold it up, hold it up. Yes. She has it on.
Good morning. My name is Mildred Tucker. I was born March 24th, 1940, on an Easter afternoon. I lived in 13 Guyana until the age of 6 months. Therefore, after that, we moved to Thomas Street, 198 Thomas Street, where I attended South Street School. From there, I went to Oliver Street School. Then I went to Eastside High School and graduated. The neighborhood that I lived in was a melting pot. We had the Irish, the Jewish, the Italian, and the Polish. My mom was from Columbia, South Carolina. My dad from Virginia, Virginia. My mom graduated from Allen University. She taught in Columbia, South Carolina for a couple of years. Came here, met my dad, married, and out of that union, 7 children were born. I was the 6th child. It was 4 girls and 3 boys. After attending Eastside High School, I got a job in a factory making doll lines. And was there until I married. After I married, keep talking. Okay, I married and had 4 children. Most people just think I had 3 sons. I had a daughter who passed at 5.5 months old. After that, I had 3 boys. Their ages today are 45, 47, and 49. And that's a good thing. Yes, and more will come. My throat is hurting me now. So more will come later, Dr. Green.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. And Ms. Tucker. Ms. Tucker to Ms. Hawkins. Again, it's important that we come to know that the longer we've been on this earth, the wiser we are, and sometimes it's important to sit at the feet of those who've had a little bit more experience because they can lead us through this path of life. Our next person, we thank you again, Ms. Hawkins. Our next person, Ms. Jennifer Bosira, born in Kenya. She's here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was born and raised in Kenya. Kenya is in Africa, and it's in East Africa. And I grew up in the Kisii Islands, which is a farming community. And my family used to farm. We had tea, we had coffee, we had corn, and I did help with my siblings in the family. I was the 4th born of a family of 7. So we helped our parents during holidays, on weekends in the farm, and we learned to do chores very early in life. I went to a local primary school, and by then, you have to go home for lunch from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. and then you go back to school in the afternoon. So we went home for lunch, and if you have parents who are in the farm, then you have to prep some meals for lunch and run back to school. We walked to school and walked back home. In high school, I did very well in my primary school, so I got an opportunity to go to a good national school. I went to all girls national school. I did participate in athletics, including cross country, and I did field and track events in high school. And I was on the top of my class, so I qualified to go to university. I went to Kenyatta University in Kenya as with a major in secondary education. I completed. I taught for 2 years before I came to the United States. And when I came to the United States, I came as a graduate student. And coming to this country from another part of the world wasn't an easy job, because in my country we speak 3 languages. When you are born in a community, you speak your first language, and you have to speak Swahili in order to communicate with other people from other communities. And when you go to school, instruction is in English. So you learn the 3 languages together. And when I came over here, I had to learn some cultures. There are so many differences. My country was colonized by the British. So our English came from the British. Some of the spellings are different from the American spellings. When I used to write my essays, my professors could check off my spellings because I was using the British English, so I had to relearn that. And even the gestures, they are different. In my country, when you do this, it means I'm calling you to come. So I learned a lot. And as you can see, that's part of my family. And I'm so grateful to be part of the JFK community, and I thank God for the opportunities given me so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. B. What a wealthy history. How many would think about having to walk to school, work on a farm, having to be afforded an opportunity just to go to school, and then to learn 3 languages and do it so well that you can be accepted into other communities? Thank you, Ms. B, for that rich history. At this time, we're going to have our first selection by Ms. Carla Bird.
I need thee, oh, I need thee. All right, every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee, oh.
For standing strong in that space. And many of you sometimes don't realize why African Americans are so deeply rooted in in gospel, but it's because of that gospel and that spiritual connection that many of us are alive, that our families were able to survive, and we were able to make transitions. And the time of Harry is coming, and you'll come to know more as we present today with our hymns and songs, that those were the messages that were in that music. And there were opportunities for you to connect with your maker. So I thank you again, Ms. Carter. Next, we'll have an autobiography presented by Ms. Charlene Henderson, who's new to us this year. She was born in Plymouth, North Carolina, and she'll come to you in her way.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Charlene Henderson. When I was born, my name was Charlene Phelps. And I was born in Plymouth, North Carolina. And my parents, excuse me, I'll say amen. That's in me. That might come out.
That's all right.
But it's all right.
Yeah.
All right, I was born October the 20th, 1954. Mother and my father, William and Lena Phelps. And I am the third child of 16 kids. My mom had 12 girls and 4 boys. We came to Newark on the train when I was 5 years old. So we've been back and forth to North Carolina, but this is where I was really raised. And, excuse me, y'all, I'm getting a little nervous here. And I went to Avon Avenue School. I also went to Peshon Avenue. I went to Charlton Street School. From Charlton Street School, I went to Southside High, which is now Shabazz. Later on in life, well, excuse me, y'all. I worked downtown at Bamberger's. It was there. I worked at the barbecue hub. And, oh, excuse me. Really overwhelmed. I'm missing some loved ones. I feel some type of way today. But anyway, my parents, my mom was on the welfare. And I remember at the time, there were 10 of us. And the stores downtown didn't allow her to get 10 pairs of shoes. And I know she was on the welfare. We wore them welfare shoes, them black and white shoes. And I know here we used to go home for lunch from school and come back at 1. And then the welfare people come to the house, and at that time you couldn't have a TV which was black and white, and not even a husband, you have to hide your man. And so later on in life, well, when I was 16, I did have my first child, my son. Today he's 45, and I have a younger son that's 23, and my daughter, she's 41. And also today, I'm married. My husband is sitting here. Today is our 23rd anniversary. I'm sitting here today as a cashier, food service worker, also a pastor. And I'm here to share and love everyone that's here. I'm here, most of all, to provide for the children that's here.
Phenomenal job. You wouldn't know, you came in September and you had to be ready so far. Don't apologize for ever having to say amen, and don't apologize for having to share your history. We never know when we have to be ready, and for those that don't know, we're always called to be ye always ready. So thank you again, Ms. Charlene Henderson. Our next autobiography, Ms. Ira Lewis, who hails to us from Guyana. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Ms. Guyana.
Good morning, each and everyone. It's a privilege to be able to tell my story. I am Ira Pyle. Anyhow, I think I'm too old, I'm tired. I'm going to sit in the chair. I'm Ira Pyle. I'm from Guyana. Guyana is a country in South America. It's the only country that speaks English in South America. All the other South American countries have different languages. Guyana is a country, it's not an island. It's 83,000 square miles large. And we're located between Brazil, Venezuela, and Suriname. You find Guyana in the middle of that. Anyhow, I was born in 1956, January 1st, to my mother and father. My father is a Frenchman, and my mother is from Guyana. Back in the days, I was the first girl for my mother and father union. So it was like a big thing when I born. And my father had a boat, a trawler, that goes in the sea. And when I was born, he named the boat Lady Ira, as he named me. That's where I got that name from, Lady Ira, when I was born. My mother and father lived until I was about 10 years old. My mother passed away. So I grew up without a mother. My father used to be on sea on the ship Lady Ira. So we had to wait for like 2 months before he come back. So we partially grew up on our own. I was like a mother to my other 4 brothers. We had to eat in restaurants in different places. We had nobody at home to take care of us, so we ate at different boarding places. I went to a school, Guyana Rental College. At the age of 15, I got pregnant because, I was basically on my own and we could have done what we want. So I got pregnant and I have a son. He's now in his 40s. He's in Atlanta, he's a chief engineer, and I have a daughter. She is the director of diapers. I have a husband. I've been married for 30 years now. He's an accomplished musician, drummer. And I'm here at John F. Kennedy, where I made all you guys family, because I really don't have much family, and I look at each and every one of you as family, extended family. But my life growing up in Guyana was very nice. I joined the military. I always wanted to belong somewhere, so I always joined anything that come up. Military, Lady Ira was there. I was a clarinet player in the military band, the first female clarinet player in the military band. So I went to music school for 3 years, and I learned to read and write. Now, I don't know if I can play a clarinet, so Miss Minuki, don't ask me. I was very young when I did that. But you still remember, so I was glad that I accomplished that. I have my brothers, and I have some outside sisters. So today, welcome to my world, Lady Ira from Guyana. Thank you. And if I might go closer to my things that you see up here, these are the things that I do now that I'm in the United States. I do a lot of community service. My vision is to serve our community. Thank you.
Lady Ira, Guyanese American. And she talked about being, her mom passing at age 10, but she was able to still fortify herself to raise 4 younger brothers. And although she talked about becoming mom at an early age, both of her children are well accomplished. So Lady Ira, thank you for sharing your story. And now we will loan ourselves to a selection by Mr. LaShawn Robinson.
And I'm gonna sit in the chair too. I'm a native Norker. Born in 1976. I'm just kidding. All right. So I'm gonna sing a verse of a hymn. Those of us that go to church, you kind of know about hymns. The songs that speak to several occasions. I was brought up Pentecostal and Baptist, so Baptist side of my family sings a lot of hymns. Funerals, Easter, Christmas. They speak of occasions, and they bring Christ to every occasion. So I'm gonna sing a verse of a hymn. Is that all right? What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins griefs to bear, and what privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. You got me too. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. And it's all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, and oh, what needless pains we bear, and it's all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer.
Words in that song. We can find peace, we can find joy, we can find patience and resilience if we carry everything, not some things, but everything to our Lord and Savior and our God in prayer. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. And again, we're going to speak of the Black experience, the African American experience, so God is in the place. All right, our autobiography now will be presented by Ms. Jill Summers Phillips, our Vice Principal, born in Springfield, New Jersey.
I'm not even right now. I told you to sing, I didn't know I meant for you to sing. Let's get together. All right, so my name is Jill. Yeah, I love the Brown too. My name is Jill Summers, and I was born in Plainfield, New Jersey, to James and Elizabeth Summers, and my mom is a teacher, and my dad is a recreation specialist. So I guess you could say in the world, we were middle class, but to me, rolling pennies, was it like we would all get together and roll pennies? And I never realized that we were struggling, but we struggled, and family was always important. My dad would say, as long as we have family, we're rich. So my presentation is really about family. And so here we have, I think I somewhat look like, that's my grandfather, Alexander Summers, and my great-grandfather, John Summers, and they're at Emancipation Day in Leesburg, Virginia, where my father's side, the Summers side, hails from. And then there's my grandfather, William Buddy, short and feisty. They're from Mitchell Grove, Georgia. And he fought in World War II and was stationed in the Philippines. And that's my grandpa, that's my papa. And so my dad was married late, and most of the people in the picture are my second cousins that I'm raised with. So my sister, we were raised with our second cousins and my third cousins. And this is, I'm really close to my mom's side of the family, so this is, we call ourselves the Mighty Seven. And we're all not brainiacs. I'm a C student. I struggled, I summer school, everything. But in this picture represents 6 college degrees, 3 postgraduate degrees, and 1 doctorate. And so, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. And my grandfather, before he passed, which I'm still upset about, he said, so you have your master's degree now? So now that means you're gonna go get your doctorate? And then like 4 minutes later, he passed away. And so I have a lot on my shoulders. So Dr. Green's been on me about going back to school because I need to make that dream come true. And so here I am now, 1969, the same face, you can keep on going through. And here, now I'm a tomboy, and makeup is not my thing. So this is 8th grade, and my sister and my mom thought it would be great to give me a makeup kit. What happened to the baseball glove? But they gave me a makeup kit. I took the picture and ran to the bathroom and washed it off because I didn't want to get in trouble. Again, family is important. And so my sister was born in 1972, and we're gonna move on and I'll show you, but we'll go to, I'm a daddy's girl. Dad, always a daddy's girl. Love my mama. My sister's best friend is my mama. But I'm a daddy's girl, and family, we're always together, we do everything together. My sister, Jamie and Jill, Jill and Jamie and Jill, we answer to both. I'm 3 years older than her, and this is probably one of the last times that I was taller than her. And you could go on. So you'll see she just kind of crept up. She probably was like 2 or 3 there, and she's always right there. But we do everything together. Same high school, same college, same master's program. We dress alike to this day. Not even though we don't even live in the same house. But that's my bestie, and we talk every day. That's my sister. And so my life, I was a Y brat with my dad. So I'm always at the Y. My dad threw me in the water at 6 months and didn't let my mama go get me, right? So from 6 months, I'm a swimmer. I swam competitively. I had dreams of being on the Olympics till everyone really got tall. But I swam competitively all over. I lifeguarded with my sister for over 20 years. And that's my high school graduation picture, Orange High School. Orange High School. In college, William Patterson College, I was Willie Banks. I was president of the Black Student Association, who when I left, my sister became the president. I was able to meet many people, and this is just my life. I struggled with racism through swimming. And so I learned to love everyone, and my mom would say, don't worry about what's going on, you just keep on going. So this is my keep on going, and this is who I am. I'm happy to be here. Woo-hoo! I'm happy to be alive.
Thank you, Ms. Summers. Again, a lifeguard. And she talked really about the richness of family, and family is what has helped many of us to overcome many struggles and just to be who we are. So thank you for lending your story to us this morning. Our next autobiography will come by way of Ms. Bernice Clanton, born in Cross, South Carolina. Welcome, Ms. Bernice.
They sat on the couch. Girl, where I came from, we sat on the porch. Did not have, we did have a porch. And this is where I sat at night. During the day, at night, anytime I wanted to read, anytime I wanted to do anything. My name is Bernice Wright. I am the third of 3 kids. My mother has 3 girls. I'm the third one. I do have an adopted brother. My mom and dad is from, I said, Cross, South Carolina. I worked on a farm. I picked cotton, which I hated because I got whipping every afternoon. I could never pick 100 pounds of cotton. I picked cucumbers that would break your back because you had to pick a certain one. But when my dad took it to the farm, took it off the farm to take it to be sold, it had to be a certain size so we could get money. Now, Doc said the first 20 years, I was the first kid to go to an interracial school. When I was in the 10th grade, I signed myself up because I was going to an all-black school and I wanted to see what an all-white school was like. So I signed myself up to go there. I was the first. I graduated from Cross High School, which is now, used to be Central High School, but because it's all black and whites that goes there, it's called Cross High School. From Cross High School, I went to Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina. From there, I came to New Jersey and I went to Kane University. And from there, I have 3 kids, a husband of 30 years. I have 2 girls, 1 boy, 1 son,
and I'm blessed because all 3 of my kids are well educated. I've always worked 2 jobs. I work 3 jobs now. I work here, after school, I work at home, so to me, that's a job. So that's my life. From Cross, South Carolina to Newark, New Jersey, I love it. Thank you, Dr. Green. Thank everyone that's welcome me to New Jersey to where I came from.
Thank you, Ms. Burton. And she shared a story, and she included the importance of work. See, we weren't allowed to just sit home and be. Even years later, and I'm not ending my story, but we've come from struggle too. But at 16 and 17 and 18, I was working 4 jobs too. So we understand the importance of that. And now, welcome back our John F. Kennedy Choral Ensemble as they make their way to the stage. Please give them a round of applause. Sometimes we had to be quiet. It was the very stillness of the moment that you were spoken to by your ancestors, by your creator, by your family. And sometimes you had to move in that time. So you needed to be quiet to be able to listen to that still voice, that quickening in your spirit that told you it's something you need to do. There's a purpose on your life. There's a calling for you. And you need to move in that moment, which is why we have such great stories with us today. So our next autobiography will be presented by Mr. John Mulholland, born right in New York City.
Thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much. First, some housekeeping business. When I was on my way down here, a couple of students here saw me walking and they was like, Mr. Moon, take your hat off. Let me explain something to you. The reason why we have Black History Month is to explain things to you so that you understand why we do what we do. piece that you see on my head is called a kufi, all right? In the African tradition, you can wear this headdress inside of a building. The removal of hats is a European tradition. It's not an African tradition. So when you go in a place and somebody tell you to take your hat off, which I grew up hearing 5 million times, that's where that comes from. So you need to be able to distinguish the difference. Okay, so if you need any more information, you can ask me or Ms. Bosere or anybody that comes from the continent of Africa, and I'm quite sure they can explain that to you much better. I was born the union of two people, a Irish-Scottish mother and an African-American father in 1961. I was born in St. Clair's Hospital, which is located in Manhattan, New York. Because of the times, my parents could not be together. So my mother decided she was going to put me into an orphanage and allow somebody to adopt me. Subsequently, I was adopted by two black parents, or African-American parents, excuse me. And was raised here in Newark, New Jersey. I grew up first on Morris Avenue, which is about 5 minutes from here, where currently UMDNJ, or the College of New Jersey, sits. And then after I did my preschool there, I actually went to preschool at what is now called Gethsemane Baptist Church on the corner of Morris Avenue, and I don't know what the cross street is, I think 15th Avenue or 14th Avenue. But we ended up having to run out of there because it got termites, so I didn't finish the year. After that, we moved over into the South Ward of Newark from that area in 1965, I believe it was, and we moved on Leslie Street. My father worked at Phelps Dodge, which was a big chemical company out by the Staten Island Bridge going over from Newark into Staten Island. My mom was a homekeeper, so my mom took care of me for the most part. Dad was at work, he came home at 6 o'clock, got his dinner, we did, play ball with me and do some of those things, and that was cool. I went to Chancellor Avenue School, and around 7 years old, I decided to go to a swimming pool. And one of the things that happened when I was younger because of my fair skin is I got picked on. So the lifeguards decided, let's throw this kid in the pool and see what happens. So they tossed me in the pool and I almost drowned. I came home crying and my mom said, what's the problem? I said, well, the lifeguards threw me in the pool and I almost drowned. So she said, okay, well, we're gonna send you to a camp so that you can learn how to swim. Okay, so since I was a ward of the state, because my parents didn't formally adopt me because they were too old, they were actually, my mother was 50 and my dad was 48 when they took me in. They called the state said, we'll put him in a camp up in Oakland, New Jersey, which is called Totowa now. I don't know if Oakland still exists up there, but I know Totowa does. I learned how to swim up there very well. After I learned how to swim, I came back. I went to high school at Weequahic High School. I graduated in 1979. I was the captain of the swim team the last 2 years I was in high school. I was city champ 2 years in swimming. Funny thing, after I graduated high school, I decided I didn't want to go to college. I was sick of school, and so my mother gave me two options. And everybody that's older than 40 remember the two options. You're either going to get a job or you're going to the military. So I chose the military. I joined the United States Navy in 1979. And while I was in the United States Navy, I went to basic camp, basic training in Orlando, Florida. After I left basic training, I went to what's called Class A school. Class A school is where you learn the basis of whatever your career is going to be while you're in the Navy. My career was going to be as a combat medic. So I went to San Diego, California to a special school to learn how to be a combat medic. Once I got there, then, they found other things for you to do. So, but I don't want to go into a long story, so I'm going to try to make it short. After that, I was assigned to the USS John F. Kennedy. How ironic that I end up in a school called John F. Kennedy toward the end of my career doing what I do. I was on the ship for 3 years. I was directly involved in the evacuation of civilians from the country of Lebanon around 1981. I also was a part of what they called the Nucleus Fire Party. Basically, what we had to do was we made sure that we took care of any nuclear weapons accidents on the ship. So we carried nuclear weapons that went on planes, and we were required to keep up with them, and we had to constantly drill what happens if one mistakenly breaks open and exposes people to radiation. My job was to go down into this area, so I had to have a super secret clearance in order to go down here and even look at the bombs. And even when I was down there close to the bombs, I had a guy on a rifle pointed at me the whole time. So very interesting. After that, I traveled a lot in the world. I went to 4 of the 5 different continents. Now all the old school people say, wait a minute, aren't there 7 continents? Well, not anymore. They kind of blended Asia and Europe together. So that's actually 1 continent now. So I've been to Africa, I've been to Australia, I've been to what is now called Eurasia, and I've been to North America. Some of the places that I've traveled include Egypt, Somalia, Morocco, Kenya. In Australia, I went to Perth. In Eurasia, I went to France, Greece, Israel, Spain, Turkey. In North America, the Bahamas, Canada, Cuba, Jamaica, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. And then after I did all of that, then I ended up becoming involved with No Public Schools. So I'll cut it short because I know we're short on time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Moon. Who light skin wasn't in? But thank you for sharing your story. Our next autobiography will be by Miss Lakeisha Brooks first, born right here in the city of New York. She's bringing a tissue with her.
I'm a surprise you people, ain't
Yeah, right, Miss Brooks.
I'm a survivor. I was born Lakeisha Brooks right here in the great city of New York. I am the product of Marilyn Brooks, Fur, and Jimmy Lee Wright. My mother was born right here in the city of Newark. She was one of 9. My dad was born in Dothan, Alabama. He's one of 7. My parents were teenage parents when they had me. Go look at me now. I'm a cute little girl, wasn't I? You know, I was chocolate. I was chocolate. The dark wasn't in back in this. Here I am. We in people. Don't call me to come back. Who said that? This whole thing. I had 2 wonderful grandparents. I think everybody has that picture of their grandmother doing their hair with kind of blurry. I just had a great childhood. Now here it is. This house right here was my first house. I lived in this house from 0 to 4 years old. I was so sad on Friday when I went to look at it, because at that house, I was almost abducted as a child. I remember eating ice cream. My dad used to work at Ford Motor Company, and a gentleman walked up and he asked me if I wanted candy, and I said, yeah, eating ice cream home. And he took my hand and we walked around that corner. And if it wasn't for my grandmother cooking, going back in that kitchen, I may not be here today. I'm from the city. I'm right here. I grew up on South 11th and 12th Avenue. My parents still have the same house I grew up in from age 12. We lived on 2 houses on the same block, 237, 225. I went to 13th Avenue School. I remember, that's right, I'm a Panther. I remember telling my mother after 8th grade, listen, I don't want to go to high school. I need to take a year off to figure out what I want to do with my life. Now, if anybody knows my mother, that didn't go too well. She was like, what are you talking about? I said, I just don't know what I want to do. But I thank God for the people in my community, because there was a woman in this family who was like, listen, where are you going to high school? I said, I'm going to Irvington Tech. I'm going to be an electrician. She was like, no, you're not. She's like, you going to Science High? I was like, okay. I went to Science High. I graduated. 4 years later, I went to the College of St. Elizabeth. Someone told me that I could get free money because I was a black woman, and I was like, that sounds pretty good to me. So I am a proud recipient of the EOF program. And I learned the white people ways, and I am okay. This is a mini first. I was homeless. I don't know if a lot of people know I was homeless. I lived at the Red Roof Inn my junior year until I graduated from college, because I thought I was grown and I was going to do what I wanted to do, and my mother was like, not in my house. But that made me who I am today, because had she not put her foot down and put me out, I might be here with 6 babies and 7 baby daddies. But I am a survivor. I have a beautiful son. I went to Rutgers University to obtain my master's degree. I made the front page of the paper, and I ain't killed nobody. This is my love. He's included because he wasn't part of the first 20 years. That's my backbone. That's my family. I have 3 younger brothers who irk my nerves. They my brothers. I'm the big sister. They told me I got book kids with no common sense. But I'm from these streets, I tell you. They don't believe me. And this is my baby. That's my baby boy, Joshua. I'm a survivor. I'm here. God is good. I'm so happy.
And I didn't mean to shortchange Mr. Mulholland. I'm happy JFK led you to JFK. That was number 1. And Lakeisha Brooksworth, thank you for it. It takes a lot to open up those innermost parts of our story. But there's somebody in the audience that shares that same struggle. And because we never know why our Creator allows us to go down certain paths, but it might loan us to something that we have to lend to someone else. She's a fantastic, phenomenal social worker because of those things that she has to experience as a child. So we thank you for opening up to us today and taking it and not leaving school at 8th grade, but continuing so you got here. Thank you. Our next piece will be a selection by our organist, Ms. Tracy Williams, our sermonic selection. We are a strong people because we never would have made it through certain situations if we didn't have families to lean on, and colleagues to lean on, and friends to lean on, and had a greater power, a greater peace. I don't know what you call yourself, how you walk in this life. If it's Allah, He is God, He is whoever it is that moves through life. You have to know that you are not amazing. You cannot amazing. You cannot amazing. And we didn't know how to hold on and know far enough. Trouble is what we made it up. Trouble is what we overcome. Trouble is what keeps us out of the day. And we have a warning that we can honor those things in every one of our children so they know that the family is not the same and they don't understand where we come from. Thank you, Tracy. As we come down to our final two autobiographies, we invite Deborah Sims, born in Richmond, Virginia, and she will be followed by Dr. Glenda Johnson Green, our very own, born in Mound Bayou, Mississippi.
Good morning. I don't know how I keep out of that. I thank God every day. I thank you today that I'm here. I took a little notes because I wanted to make sure you understood where I came from. My name is Deborah Sims. I was born of a humble beginning in Richmond, Virginia in 1955. I'm 60 years old. I look good. My parents were very young, yet they recognized and they took the responsibility of being parents and also raising a family very seriously. My father decided that he would take the opportunity to come up north to be able to get a better job for his family. My father worked 2 and 3 jobs to make enough money to get our family under one roof. When I was 3 months old, my mother joined my father in New Jersey and left me in the care of my grandparents. I had my father's parents, my mother's parents, and I had a great-grandmother. I stayed there until he was able to secure a home for us. It took about 2.5 years. My father, and it took about 2.5 years before my grandmother brought me up to New Jersey. My father had a home on South 12th Street, right around the corner here. I went to South 8th Street School. My sister was born in 1958. She's also a teacher in a limited school system. I lived on the farm with my grandparents, so I learned how to milk a cow, how to plant crops, how to take care of cows and the milks and everything like that. To this day, I love, everybody know I like salads because of that. In the summer, my sister and I would stay with my grandparents every summer. And we would just enjoy our summer with school closed. In my mother's home, it was required that when we after we came out of school, we would change our clothes. We would do our homework. She would check our homework before we went outside. If our homework wasn't done, we couldn't go outside. That was unacceptable. My parents purchased a house on Scholar Avenue where I went to 2nd and 8th grade to Maple Avenue School. Next, I went to Weequahic High School, my sister and I was inducted in the Honor Society. I enjoyed school. When school was out, I cried. I got upset. I really enjoyed school. When we went in our household, there was no option. You had to go to college. It was required you go to college, or you couldn't live in my father's house. Because he did not have a high school diploma. He stressed education in our home. My parents worked hard to make sure that my sister and I didn't have to pay any student loans. He worked 2 and 3 jobs to send us to King College. We both graduated from King College. I majored in special ed, where I had not only been able to serve the community in which I have grown, but to help my own family who need to navigate education and services. Having parents who have laid the foundation for learning and a clear path to what hard work and what good work ethic could be, it took a village to raise me.
And I'm thankful for my parents and my grandparents. And I thank John F. Kennedy for bringing me back home, because I've been my student teacher here over 30-some years. And thank God for Dr. James.
Good morning, JFK. Good morning, JFK. Well, since I helped my aunt carry this rocking chair off the 3rd floor in her house all the way down, I guess I'll sit in it. Okay, trying to find a PowerPoint presentation. My name is Glenda Seals, S-E-A-L-S, like the Easter seals, the Christmas seals, that seals. I was born in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Someone said to me the other day they'd never heard of that town. I'm like, it exists. It's a real town. It's in Mississippi, the northern part of Mississippi. It was an all-black town that was, as you can see, founded in 1887. My grandfather was born in the late 1800s, and he and my grandmother, on my mother's side, married in around 1926, probably. And when, that's my grandmother on the right, who married my mother's father when she was 18 and he was 60. Yeah, hot mama. But being the baby of her family, you could not leave home if you weren't married. So she did marry. I wonder who that is. Oh, okay, that's me. Okay. So getting married and having my mom at the age of around 20, my mom was born in 1927. And she was my grandmother's oldest child. And being reared in Mississippi and growing up in an all-black, being born in an all-black town at a hospital that catered to, at that time, black people. You could not go to the white hospital. You could only go to this particular hospital, and the name of that hospital was Taborian Hospital in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. And going to middle school at Little Rascals Daycare Center, and after going to primary school prior to elementary, I then went over to the elementary school, and that was in Cleveland, Mississippi. And back in those days, the high school started at grade 7. So I attended Eastside High School, grade 7, and moved to New Jersey for grade 8, coming to Newark to live with my mother. I was my mother's only child. And I always told people I'm an only child, but I have 9 brothers and sisters. And they were like, wait a minute, you can't be an only child and have 9 brothers and sisters. My dad, of course, had the others. So I was my dad's 8th child, but my mother's first and only child. Leaving Mississippi in 1962, I came on the train with my grandmother, who had to fix us a lunch bag because you couldn't buy food on the train. You couldn't go to the dining car if you were black. So we had to make food and take food on the trip with us. So we stayed on the train for a full day, 24 hours, coming from Mississippi to New Jersey. So my mom met my grandmother and I down at Penn Station, and I came to New Jersey to live with her. And she tried to prep me coming to Newark. She said, you know, they're probably gonna put you back because you're too young for grade 8. So I started Peshine Avenue, and the principal told my mom, we'll see how she makes out. If she makes out okay, we'll leave her in the 8th grade. But if not, we'll have to put her back a grade because she's really too young to be in the 8th grade. I was 11 years old. So I graduated from the 8th grade at age 12 and went to Weehawken High School, which at that time was still predominantly Jewish, and one of the top schools, not only in the state of New Jersey, but in the nation. Weehawken High School was one of the top schools academically and athletically at that time. So graduating from Weequahic High School at the age of 16, I was the youngest in my graduating class of 350 graduates. And from there, went on to Hampton Institute, which is now Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia, at the age of 16, and had arguments with people every day because, you know, people would ask, how old are you? And I'd tell them 16, and so every day I was called a liar. There's no way that you're 16 and you're in college, but I was. After 2 years, met my son's dad. What did I know? You know, your mother says go left, you go right. They say go up, you go down. You know, wait, don't get married, you're too young. So I got married the first time at age 18. What the heck did I know? So my son was born around the age of 20. And of course, for those children that I didn't have, I always wanted 3 children, but I only had that one. But he has helped me out significantly because I have 6 grandchildren. Made up for not having the extra children myself. So that's a picture of my family, my aunts and my grandmother and my first cousins. And that's a picture of my dad and my baby sister, who's a librarian in Chicago Public Schools, and my 2 brothers, the one on the right, passed away in 2000. And that was when I received my doctorate. That was my graduation party that my husband and my son gave me. So here I am at the wonderful, terrific, I used to be principal of 13th Avenue, by the way. Been around a long time. So that's the earlier years for Glenda Seals Johnson Green. Here we are at JFK.
And she mentioned she was still 16 years old. Thank you, Dr. Glenda Johnson Green. We thank her again for the very vision of today. Let's give her a round of applause as the choir ladies go back to the stage. The choir ensemble, please join us back on stage. And we will have our closing selection and open for the second. That was an inside joke. But again, we hope that each of you were able to learn something today, that you appreciate the legacy and the lives of all that work among you. Again, we cannot apologize for bringing the spiritual aspect in it because of that. It's part of the fabric of the African American experience. But again, we don't count it against you. Whatever your religious preference is, that is what has allowed you to become who you are. So you go each day knowing that there is something that's greater than you that continues to move you forward. And we applaud everyone for their presentations today. And please join us if you like in our final selection. So we thank you for joining us in Living Color. I bet you thought it was a television show, but instead, we have brought Dr. Green's vision to life. Again, we hope that each of you was able to take something away from today, and even more importantly, that you share that something with someone else. Every day we live, we're supposed to learn, and every day we live and learn, we're supposed to share. It is our duty to continue to move forward off the backs and the struggles of people that came before us. Thank you again, and Dr. Green.
Thank you for all of the speakers this morning and for our choral ensemble. Let's give them another hand. For all of your hard work. And let's not forget our organist, pianist,